All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Adams Brothers Podcast. I know we're coming on a little bit late. We said 6 p.m., but somehow Zoom just don't want to act right sometimes, and we end up coming on a little bit later than we should have. But nevertheless, we are here. We are joined here this evening with the one and only baddest running back that ever played at the University of Kansas, Mr. Tony Get Sensational Sands, brother. My brother, welcome to the Adams Brothers Podcast.
What's happening, my brothers? What's going on, man? Thank y'all for having me on. Thank you guys for spreading the knowledge that you do to the communities, man. It's a blessing. Like I said, the knowledge that I get from you guys each and every day when I look at Facebook or speaking with one of you is what is due and what is needed and what has been needed in the inner city.
Yeah, man, and we feed off of each other, man. We learn so much from you, man, and
that's right,
man. You inspire us, man, and we inspire you too. So, man, yes. The feelings are mutual, man, and we appreciate all that you do for the young people, man, the youth in the community here in Deerfield Beach, Pompano, Fort Lauderdale, man, all over South Florida, man. What you do is unmatched around here in this county in South Florida, man.
And I, when I speak about that, I look at this and I looked at a lot of the kids that I've dealt with over the years. I have dealt and had the pleasure and been blessed to be a blessing to many children, not only children, but a blessing to many families. I look at some of my guys that are out now playing doctors, lawyers, police officers, firefighters, assistant head coaches, still in the league. And I've had these guys since they were young. So they become a part of your family. You become part of their family. They call you if they're feeling up or down. They're able to open up and express to me. So I've been thankful to be in the position that I've been in.
And man, we appreciate you, man, and all that you do. So, man, we didn't schedule anything. We don't have, in like some of our regular guests and everything, but we wanted you to come on, man, on our pop-up podcast, man. It's been, so much going on around here in South Florida lately, especially in Pompano, man, with the gun violence going on in Pompano, man. And we're all trying to be a part of the solution around here and not the problem. We're all trying to find some solutions how we could curb and just not just curb, but stop this senseless gun violence that's going on, especially down there in Pompano and Collier City.
Everywhere, Deerfield, everywhere.
Deerfield, all over, Lauderhill, man, it's just out of control right now, man, and we have to collectively all do something, man, to stop this, man.
Because they have our friend, the breaking news reporter. He can't even stay up with the shootings right now.
He can't even sleep because, like I say, every minute you're hearing something breaking out, whether it's, like I say, if you're running anything and you're jumping your news from all of Miami up to Palm Beach County, you crisscrossing the counties like no tomorrow. And I say that because we're seeing it happen and we're seeing it play out day to day in our own communities. So most time we're getting it before the news getting it. Why? Because one person is saying, hey, you heard so-and-so just got shot. And we're saying this. And the biggest fear that is coming out of this, are we as a community, are we as a people, are we getting immune to what's taking place? To where it's taking place so much that it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's expected to happen. Well, it's not expected to happen because it doesn't happen like it do in other countries such as ours. It doesn't happen at the alarming rate that it happens in the United States. And that's some of the information and knowledge we got to start tackling. Why is it not happening in Japan as much as it's happening in the United States? Everybody's the same. They're children. What are we not doing that other countries have found the solution to do and solve a lot of this senseless gun violence? You look at within the last probably 8 last year, I'll say the whole year, and you look at how many senseless deaths that we've had to take place in our community, is unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at the gun deaths, we've taken it to a whole, we in this country has taken it to a whole nother level. And we got to be careful when we're saying we're going to town hall meetings. Okay. We're going to these town hall meetings. I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but you got to listen to this. When I got up to speak, because I wasn't going to speak, I was just mainly coming to be a part of town hall meeting, hear what was saying, but some things were said, so it drew me to get up and speak to the sheriff and speak to everybody, not to bash the sheriff, not to go after anything, but we got to start looking at within ourselves if we're going to solve this problem.
Right.
Why I say that is that when I looked at the sheriff and I looked at the undersheriff and I looked at a lot of the high-ranking officers that was there, these children are not coming out of their homes. They are not raised in their homes. Why do I say that? Because they're coming out of our home. So if the child that's doing this gun violence is coming out of your home, you must sweep your doorstep first.
That's right.
Someone else's doorstep. And that's what we as a community, as a people, have not done enough. We got to sweep our own. We got to figure out, what are we doing? What are we not doing to get some type of handle on this situation? We got to find those answers.
Right. And it's not just one. It's not the city of Pompano's fault. It's not the city of Deerfield's fault. It's not Broward Sheriff's Office fault.
No.
It's not our mom and moms and dads, man. It's all of our fault, man. We all can do better, man, and do better things here in our community. More programs to keep these kids busy. You know, just things in the churches, man. It's something that it's more that we all can do to help stop this senseless gun violence that's going on around here.
Because as we spoke, and we was on you guys' show some months ago, we spoke about your dad. We spoke about some of the coaches that were in the communities. These people were people that, you know, the kids went to and spoke about something that they may not have gone to the parents and spoke about, but these people took what they did serious because they knew it was for the children of their whole community. Not like you said, this is not a Pompano issue. This is not a Deerfield issue. This is not a Lauderhill issue. This is a community issue.
That's right.
We got to get a hold of. That's what I want people, because sometimes we start pocketing this thing. Oh, this Pompano, this. Oh, no, this is a community issue, and that's why when I did it in Lauderhill, I did it in Lauderhill when it was bought. When I thought about this process, I had seen the last 3 young men get killed, and I'm saying to myself, man, we can't just sit here on the sideline because it ain't happened to me yet.
Yeah,
as you heard, it hasn't happened to me yet. Sometimes we don't get involved. We sit on the sideline until it taps on our door.
Yes.
Now we want to get proactive. No, let's get proactive before it comes to our door, so it don't have to come to our door. And let's use our youth league organizations to start the ground root to educate our young men and young women when it comes to gun violence and every other violence that takes place in our community. Let's go back to the ground roots. Let's go. It's going to be tough, and we try to do it, but if we want to combat this at some point, we got to go back to the ground roots. When you look at a lot of these young men that either committing the crimes or been victim to the crimes, at some point, these young men and young women have come through some type of youth organization, whether it's basketball, whether it's football, something they traveled through. So if we can get a hold of those youth organizations to start educating our young men and our young women, giving them the knowledge to let them see some of the dangers that lie out here in our community and other communities. Because like I said, it just don't affect our community. No. It affects every community throughout Broward County. No one is exempt from gun violence. So
Right.
I want to make sure that we understand that this is not a black issue. This is an American issue, and
Right.
everybody within the United States have to get together and figure out the solution to this problem.
Right. And Sheriff Tony touched on that Tuesday night. He said,
Yes, he did.
just don't think that it's just a problem on the west side
Correct.
of Pompano. This same problem, it's nothing for these black kids to go over on the east side of town, and you the people on the east side of town, you can be victims of gun violence too. So don't just think that it's a West Pompano problem and let them solve their own problem. No, it's a problem for Pompano as a whole.
Yeah. It's not just a black on black crime issue, because that's what I think a lot of people in attendance the other night was probably looking at it. And whenever you talk crime, like the sheriff said the other night, that place should have been packed.
It should have
not just with black people, but that place should have been packed with white people too, because like both of you guys alluded to, that gun violence can happen at any time, any place, and anywhere. So it's not just the Negroes over there shooting up each other. I mean, we see crime every day where crime of whites on white crime. We see it all the time. So they can't become immune to just thinking that is just a problem for the blacks over there to solve.
Yes, that's their problem. That's their issue. We're not going to, but when we look at gun violence, understand that gun violence is not just something to where we roll up and do a drive-by and we're out of here. Gun violence is the same when it comes to people going to schools, shooting them up, people going into random malls. That's gun violence. All this goes up under the gun violence umbrella. So don't just, sometimes we'll pocket it in and say the gun violence, and we'll say it's just when we do drive-bys, somebody saying, now that's not gun violence. All that falls up under that umbrella of gun violence. And we have sat back too long, and we've seen too many mothers. We've gone to too many Bloom tip-offs, Bloom remembrance.
Bloom release.
Yeah, we've gone to too many Bloom releases within the last year.
Right.
There's too many blooms being released in the air.
Yes.
And we got to get a hold of that. We got to see what is going on. And at a lot of these bloom release, we get a lot of these young people. Well, like I told, when I talked to a couple of sheriff's deputies, they say we do these type of events. We host these type of events, but the people that needs to hear this information never there. And I said to them, I say, they never there? I said, listen, have we gone to where they're at? Have we dealt with the youth league programs? Let's go to the presidents of these youth league programs. Let's tell them, hey, listen, we need to hold your practice need to be at one of these meetings, and we're going to hold it as a practice. So that means your parents, you tell your parents, hey, this is a mandatory meeting. I guarantee you, if you're getting ready to go and play a Super Bowl, if you're getting ready to go play a national championship, your parents will be to a meeting if you say your kids cannot go unless you attend this meeting. Right. This is how we got to educate it, because coaches are feeling this too, because this could be little Jimmy on your football team, and tomorrow you are getting ready to go by his mom's house and console her because little Jimmy just got hit. And as we said, we talk about the young man, April's son, who was just bouncing the ball, going home from playing basketball, enjoying himself, and was caught in a crossfire. This is what I'm saying. We got to get a hold of this epidemic that is taking place in these communities, in our communities. It's just not, don't wait till, like I said, it hit your doorstep. You gotta go and get it. And
it's getting worse too, man. It's not getting any better. And again, man, we all have to get involved, man. Like I say, the city, the city officials, BSO, the families, the churches got to do more too. That don't just invite us to come to church and ask us for some money. Come out in the community. a little bit more. Get out there and talk to these kids and
Preach on gun violence
and go
more.
go to where they hang out at on these corners. And then if you have to ask a deputy to come along with you and go to have a deputy tag along with you and go talk to these young kids and invite them to church, you know, and maybe they won't hang out on the corner and sell drugs and pack a gun, a 357 and a 9 on them, and you know, waiting on somebody they've been beefing with at the club all week, and spray up the block, you know.
And most of this beef starts on social media, as the sheriff department alluded to the other night, Tony, on Tuesday night.
Yes.
They get on Facebook and it starts out just a simple beef, and the next thing you know, it has turned into something major, some major conflict, and that's one of the problems that I see, as Darryl was alluding to earlier, about a lot of the churches need to become more. We can't just say we're going to pray this away. If y'all think just trying to pray this away is going to work, y'all living in fantasy land. Prayer works and prayer helps. I'm a true believer in prayer, but you just can't pray this gun violence away. You got to put boots on the ground. You know, I hear society always say black men not stepping up. Well, you got 3 black men right now,
right here,
all the time, doing tangible things within our community, trying to stem the violence, trying to bring a better quality of life for people in our community. Sometimes when I hear that, it kind of upsets me, because I'd be like, no, don't just say all black men need to stand up and take the community back. Yes, that's true, but you have black men that's within our community. They just need a little bit of help. They need more boots on the ground.
Right.
Yes. And that's
they're growing up in the house without their father, so they need that father figure. You know what I'm saying? So if they got a father figure, someone they can look up to that's doing positive things in the community, they're more likely to start doing positive things themselves. You know.
And you speak about a father figure. Understand, a father figure is not someone that is within your home. A father figure can be a coach. Father figure can be the principal, the assistant principal. Father figure can be the janitor. It is who is doing positive around in your environment that you look up to. And what we've had is these kids are looking up to the rappers. Let's call, because the music has changed. This music these kids are listening to has changed. The video games we played, what was it? Donkey Kong,
Miss Pac-Man, Space Invaders.
Ain't no Donkey Kong Pac-Man being played nowadays. These games that these kids are playing, and then because the phones are raising them. So now, if I'm able to go on a video game and kill, and some people say, not, yeah, it does. It starts training the brain in a way that you become immune to death, because the way you program yourself to deal with violence comes from what you're feeding into your brain on an everyday basis. These kids play Call of Duty. What's some of the other
Grand Theft Auto.
And these games are violent games, to where I know when I first seen Grand Theft Auto, I don't know how it is now because I haven't played it. When you killed somebody, you shot somebody, blood blew out. The graphics of it, you saw. So we got to make sure that we got to find that answer. We got to come together in order to find that answer. With this symposium that we're doing in Lauderhill, we're bringing some of the experts out. We're bringing a lot of the experts to the table, to where there's mothers groups within our communities that we don't know about. Mothers that are grieving with each other, because sometimes mothers, and not only mothers, but fathers, but we understand that mother dynamic. I know me as a man, and I'm a father, but I know that motherly dynamic is something different. It just have a difference of something to it. So we got to make sure that these mothers, sometimes they don't get the help that they need after they've been through a traumatic situation. They're hurt in silence. So they don't get, so there's groups out there that they can join. We could bring in those groups so they can know that information. And mothers that are grieving. There's one group right here in Pompano. I didn't know the group existed until I started this program. So I started doing this, and I reached out to Kim Duncan. And that's what she told me. She said, Tony, it's a group here in Pompano. We meet, I think they meet once a month at the library in Collier City. and they go over. So I went to their meeting with them one night, and I'm looking, I'm like, wow, not too many people know this, even though I know it's with grieving mothers, but those that are outside sector need to know, because if they have someone that's a grieving mother, they can direct that mother to that organization or to another organization. Sometimes they just get there and they talk. Sometimes talking it out helps some of the mothers, but they don't have people that they can console in, that they can talk to, that helps them. So we're bringing some of the professionals throughout Broward County and beyond. We're bringing, like I said, I don't know if many people know about Stedman Bailey. Stedman Bailey was a wide receiver that was playing for the Rams. And his career was sailing. It was starting to take off. He was home one weekend dealing with the injury, and lo and behold, down in Miami, gets shot in the head. Career changes. So you got to imagine how that changed his outlook on how his whole life and where he was, to be at the top of your career, and all of a sudden, through senseless gun violence, now you're shot in the head. It changed his dynamic of who we are. We have Alexis Frazier from Channel 10 that is going to be the moderator of this event. I've reached out, like I say, Vice Mayor Martin, that's in Lauderhill. We reached out. He's on board. Like I said, I have a host of young ladies that have been mothers that have been victim to gun violence. So other mothers going to get a chance to hear what mothers that have been impacted by this gun violence, how they're feeling, what some of the stuff they probably could have done if looking at it now, and how they can educate mothers going forward that may need to be educated so their child won't be this next victim.
Right. And I wish, when you got up and spoke the other night down in Pompano, I wish you would have mentioned your symposium.
He did.
And I mentioned it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we mentioned
did.
it. Yeah,
I missed that.
Yeah, we mentioned it. That was, something that's been really, I wasn't going to get up, but then they went to, and
I urge you to get up.
And Wayne urged me to get up, and I wasn't, I was mainly coming because I got the information late. And I think when we say the meeting wasn't as packed, I think it was not that packed because, like you said, I didn't know about it. Sometimes the information is out there. We'll scan through it, and sometimes we got to blame ourselves sometimes for it, because sometimes the information is out there in front of us, but we'll scan through it as we're moving so fast through Facebook and life. Sometimes we'll miss it. But I guarantee you, through those types of errors on our part and other part, these type of meetings, we should not let not one seat be empty in these types of meetings. You're getting this education. We're saying we want it to stop. But if we want it to stop, we got to get ahead of it. We got to get out. We got to get speaking. We got to get out in our communities to try to help our children that are coming up, our mothers and fathers that are grieving. And that way we won't have to continue to make this the norm in our community, because it's not the norm everywhere else. So if it's not the norm in other countries, it shouldn't be the norm in the United States.
And hopefully Mayor Rex Hardin would attend. I know you put it out there. Now that I know that you put it out there, I just missed it. Hopefully he would show up, because it's going on in his city. He should try to come down there and hopefully get some solutions from your symposium that you're putting on down there in Lauderhill. I mean, we all battling the same thing, gun violence. I don't care what city you're in. It probably don't happen as much in Western and Lighthouse Point and Parkland, but it's sooner or later we're all going to battle gun violence.
And when we look at Lauderhill, because the kids have given Lauderhill a whole new name.
Yes, they have.
Lauderhill.
Lauderhill. It's when you're designating something Lauderhill, that is not something that we should be celebrating. Is something that we should say we got to get out and get ahead of it. Parents, children, we are urging you. Youth league coaches, cheerleading, any organization that deals with children, you need to bring your children and the moms, because we need the parents there as well as the children, because that way both of them are getting the same amount of knowledge and understanding, and it makes the parents look at their children's different. Because I know if I go somewhere and I'm hearing a story of something that has happened to somebody, it touches me. It touches me deeply in a way, especially if I know this is something in a community that I deal with. This is what is out the door. Because at any point, you, me, any one of us can be standing around and all of a sudden we're a victim of gun violence. This is going on.
That's right.
We can't let it be the norm. We've allowed this to be the norm too many times. We've become immune to this, that it's okay for it to be gun violence throughout our community, and it's not.
And that's what I wanted to ask you too, Tony. Touch on what you're saying about the immune part. I have seen that too. And I have seen when you talk about someone getting murdered now or shot, and you talking to someone you know, it's like sometimes you'll talk about it for like maybe a 15, 20, 30 seconds. If it's not no one they know or anyone, they brush it off. It's like you say, I have seen our community become immune. It's like business as usual now when someone get shot. And that's what I think needs to be emphasized more than anything now, about the immunity to any type of violence, just not gun violence. I mean, especially gun violence, but it's like people just look at it as like almost like they seeing a bird fly by now. And that's sad.
Right. And let me just say this right quick before we got some people joining us in the chat. Tyrone Cicero, Angela Divinity, Calandra Jones, Skinny Johnson, Lucy H., Gwendolyn No Nonsense, Elder, and Irene Blue. Thank you all for joining us. If you're just joining us, we are talking about gun violence in our community.
All communities,
especially the Black community. And if you have any comments that you'd like to put in the chat, we'll read them. And if you'd like to call in to the show, the number is 954-480-3209. And again, we are talking about gun violence in the community, especially the Black community that's getting, these young kids are dying by the dozens every week, And we were talking about, while we were at the meeting the other night, Tony, a lot of the issues that came up were about loitering around the outside of the businesses and everything. And the store owners not doing anything about it, and the property owners not doing anything, and not putting the pressure on the people that are renting the corner stores, and the city not finding them and going after them and enforcing them and harassing them and making them feel uncomfortable. I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think that BSO should pull up on these people that's loitering outside of these stores and give them a ticket, and because that's where all the violence is. They're happening right in front of these little corner stores that's basically run by the Arab community, and we all have been to them. And this is where all the gun violence is centered around a lot of these stores here. So, what are your thoughts on that, Tony?
One thing I say about that is like, and you touched on it, says happening. There, majority of these stores that are in our inner city are ran by, Arabs and things of that nature. Well, guess what? I'm gonna come in. I could come into your community, run my business, but when I leave, I'm going far out west to where I'm. So rather you guys hang out in front of my business, because the more you hang out in front of my business, you're gonna come inside my business and purchase. So they don't want it to stop because it'll kill their sales. These guys go in and out of it. And then we just don't know what other stuff is going on within that crowd that is hanging out at someone's business. I know we own a business, and that's the one thing I can't stand is to see someone standing out in front of it, because I'm thinking, man, this is going to scare some of my customers away. Well, they're not thinking in that manner, because guess what? It doesn't affect them until you walk into that store and you decide you're going to steal something, then you got some problems. Or you decide you're going to harass one of them, then that's when the problem comes in. But other than that, but now there are Arab stores in communities where this is not, to where people are not hanging out in front of them.
On the east side of town.
They're not hanging out in front of them now. So it's something that we got to, as Blacks, I guess we have a hangout mentality. But that type of hangout mentality hasn't led to anything good, and we know it. We see it. Sometimes if I'm riding by and I need to stop at one, if I see a bunch, I'm gonna keep on riding because I don't know at some point something can break out, and I don't want to be a part of it. Don't want to have nothing to do with it.
Right.
But what I'm saying is we got to make sure if this is going on in our communities, and if there is, as some of the people said, if there's a loitering sign clearly posted, they need to address it. Then, yeah, the sheriff department needs to address that issue. But then you got to remember how much of that is private property.
Yeah.
How much of that is private property? And if myself, if it's my property and I'm not calling, what's the odds of them getting ready to leave? I guarantee it's one of those store owners call and say, hey, man, we got these guys hanging out in front of our store and we need them out of it.
But they're not doing that though. They're not doing that.
Not gonna,
like you said, that's money for them.
And also, Tony, the sheriff also touched on the other night at the meeting. I wish everyone should have been at that meeting. And a few things I wanted to say. Whenever they have a meeting like that, the city of Pompano, city of Deerfield, whenever they do a town hall meeting, they need to do better advertising, because I know a lot of people text me, came on my Facebook page, came on our page saying they didn't know about the meeting, even though they live in other cities. They would have still came to that town hall meeting, because that town hall meeting was very important to come out to. But the advertisement just wasn't there. But I would say tell people to implore to go on Pompano Beach website and sign up for alerts. For email alerts, and they will let you know, Deerfield and other cities, and they will let you know. Everyone should have been there to that town hall meeting the other night at the at Pat Larkin Center. And also the sheriff touched on the other night, and former Pompano Beach Commissioner Ed Phillips touched on about over-policing. The former commissioner was concerned that
some of the good kids,
some of the good people get caught up in that. And he didn't say he didn't want enforcement, but former Commissioner Ed Phillips said that he wanted enforcement. He just didn't want over policing, and even the sheriff touched on that, and the sheriff made it clear to it was a lot of deputies in there.
Yes,
he made it clear, and people can say what they want to say about Greg Toney, whether you agree with him or not. He made it clear that he will not go for any of his officers brutalizing citizens. And he's not just talking the talk, he means that. And I know a lot of people say, well, he arrests them, but they keep getting off. Well, at least he's arresting them, because a lot of times in the past it was done. Yes, they can't get a conviction, but the sheriff made it clear that even with the policeman that we all are asking for, that he's not gonna go for coming in, putting boots on people's necks and all of that, and that's what a lot of people too were concerned about, the over policing. So I hear what y'all saying about a lot of them hanging around the businesses, and I don't think they should be hanging around the businesses either. But I think more or less what a lot of officers and a lot of people from the sheriff department are concerned about, if they do come in, black boot down, material down, and come and start doing real enforcement, then the people gonna push back and say that y'all coming in here, y'all brutalizing us. Where yes, you can have balance like the sheriff said, but you got to be able to come in and do not violate people's rights. It doesn't take a lot to come in, and I know I'm not a policeman. I worked security for over 20 years, but I applied for the police department back in the days, the sheriff department, highway patrol, Fort Lauderdale. But I don't think it comes in if you got a common sense. You got people like Darryl Stallings. You had people here like Morrison. You had people here back in the days that knew how to talk to the kids, and would sometimes come and talk to the parents when they knew the kids were doing things. And I'm just saying, the point I was making again
that's
was
community policing too, which we don't have a whole lot of.
Yes.
They have, a lot of cities have completely gotten away from community policing. Polices,
Yes.
they don't ride by. And then one lady even said that a police
one of them,
officer went by, came up and shot
Shot
somebody.
the
a
bird. Shot the bird.
Told him to
Yeah.
F you, you know, and
And he needs to be real signed somewhere. Fired up. Real
Fired.
sign. I mean, if you come through a community, you shoot a bird at one of the residents over there, then you need to be out of here. I don't care who you are, black, white, or whatever. You need to get the hell on up out of here.
And I understand, and to touch on that, I understand how when you say that over policing, I've had my own run-ins with the police department as far as harassment and things of that nature. So I understand that. But then Tony also touched on that they're looking at bringing in federal.
Yes.
Them out, and as they call it in our community, they bringing in them alphabet boys. That's going to be hanging. That's going to be riding with a lot of these deputies. Those what we consider their tactical units, their street units, their
violent street crimes unit.
Everything, and they're because I know a lot of those guys, and like I say, when it comes to when you're bringing in the DEA and
Homeland Security.
Listen, you're talking about trying to step this thing up because, like you say, people are asking for. Where is the balance? Where is the balance? It's going to be a fine line when it comes to the balance because we want it cleaned up, but you also don't want the overuse of police force. So it's going to be a balance. That's why I say this is something that we also got to combat within our own community, our own homes. We got to be able to inform our children because guess what? We're asking for something, but we don't want that. Where is that balance when it comes to trying to do your police job? Because if I don't do enough, I'm getting it. And if I don't do over, I'm getting it. So where is the balance of it? We got to find. That's why we like you say these town hall meetings, the symposium on May 2nd.
Right. Tell them more about that too while you're talking about it.
And like I said, we're doing a Mothers Against Gun Violence symposium. Now, fathers, I'm not leaving you out at all. But we understand how a mother tugs at a young man's heart because we're not having so much of this with our girls. We're having more of this with our boys. So we got to find that tug. A boy loves his mother.
Yes.
And that's why I came up with Mothers Against Gun Violence. It took, like I said, a team of us to sit down, to come together, to find the group of professionals that we have. I've reached out to the Broward County School Board when it comes to making to the early Head Start department, because I want to get those young parents, because the majority, when you look at some of these kids that are committing some of the crimes or being victim of some of the crimes, a lot of these parents, probably 70% of these parents are young parents. They're not those older parents as much. We find some, but the majority of these are young parents. And we got to educate the parents as well as the children. That's why I'm speaking a lot about the young. It's kind of not that it's not doable, but it's going to be hard to change a 21-year-old versus a 7, 8, 10, 12-year-old. It's easier to, if we educate them now, we don't have this problem come 6 years now. We're addressing it. We're addressing it now. That's why we put this symposium on. As I told you, we have Alexis Frazier from Channel 10 will be moderating it. We're bringing the vice mayor of Lauderhill, Mr. Martin. It will be one of the hosts with me. We're bringing on Stedman Bailey is one of the people, ex-NFL player that, like I said, was shot in the head in Miami when he was home. We're dealing with the injury, changed his whole career. Kim Duncan is one of the people that are on the panel because we know she's dealt with the violence dealing with guns. We got Ms. Williams, another mother that has dealt with the violence. Ms. Grant, another mother that has dealt with violence. We're bringing on one of the mental health specialists that work with the school board of Broward County. Sherelle DeBranch will be there. We reached out to 211 for them to set up a booth. Anybody, if you're coming to the event, or if you have a business, but if you have a business that is in the social service field, and what I mean by that, willing to want to give out information. Like say you have a foundation and your foundation, gives out, then those types of foundation, we only have a limited amount of booths that we've set up. But we also bringing on Miss Brooks. She deals with the youth in Lauderhill. She's one of the Lauderhill PD's specialists. The Lauderhill Police Department is on board with this. They're sending out one of their chiefs. So we got a lot of people involved, and we're continuing as we go to even make it bigger and more people getting involved in it. But like I said, we've had several people that also have sponsored this event. Several people that I've reached out to with my connections. As a matter of fact, one of the young men that's from Deerfield Beach have helped sponsor this. A young man that I helped raise up, Brandon Powell.
Yeah,
great.
Wanted to sponsor because he understands where we're at, what we got to do. This thing is not. No one is like I said, immune from this.
And what date and time is that symposium going to be on? Let everybody know what date and time that's good. That is.
It's May 2nd. That'll be that's a Thursday. We're doing that at the Lauderhill Performing Arts Center. And that's going to start at 6:30. We're going to get in there, probably be in there for about probably 3 or 4 hours at the max, educating, listening to experts. We're going to the Broward Sheriff's Office. We got them bringing some of their police department will be on hand. We're going to ask them some questions of what they need from us, what we need from them when it comes to helping with this epidemic, this situation that we are having. What we need to hear when we're hearing a homicide detective try to solve some of this stuff. What we expect out of them, what they're expecting out of us, and how we as a community, when it comes to policing and communities, can get together to try to do something about this senseless gun violence. So it's going to be like I said, a fun-filled event. We're going to make sure that we're still reaching out and getting people on board as we go. It is
pastors. What about any pastors? Do we need to get any pastors from the churches? Because a lot of people seem to think that the pastors need to get out of the church and do more community work. And again, instead of come to church and we want to praise God and all of that there. And, we need these pastors to come do more community work. Get out of that church and come out here and do some more community work. Not saying that some of you aren't, but I'm just saying we need more. This is a battle that we all have to fight. The churches, the schools, the police department, the cities, the parents, everybody. This is a fight that everybody, we're all in this together, And I like Irene Blue said, she said we have to educate the parents to have options when our kids graduate college, military, or get a job, but have a plan. That's a good.
And I wanted to touch on something
there,
too. Piggyback off of what Daryl said just now, Tony, about the other night at the town hall meeting in Pompano, the summit. A lot of the pastors there got up and they criticized. They were very critical of other pastors out there. So I just wanted to say the pastors were very, very critical the other night of not enough pastors and religious leaders and other people doing enough in the community to help stem gun violence. And as I said again, Tony, we as Black people, we've been told to pray all our problems away. And that's one of the reasons right now why we are in this mess we are in right now, because praying is good, but we just can't keep thinking that we can just pray murders and rapists and child abusers and everything out of our community. We need boots on the ground. We need people that's committed to the cause. As I said again, people always say we need Black men to stand up. Well, you got 3 Black men on here right now. That's always these 2 Adam brothers and Tony Sands always standing up.
Standing up, like I said, we're out here. We're making sure and to go back, Wayne, when you had said that the information didn't get out good enough. I stumbled on to look at Facebook. I was getting ready. I'm telling you, I was just getting ready to lay down in my bed from a long day of training. And he said, you said the meeting has just started with the Broward Sheriff's Office town hall meeting. And I hit you. I say, where?
Right.
And he said, at Pat Lockins. And I'm on my way. I got back up, put on my clothing. I said, where you going? I said, I'm heading out to this town hall meeting. I gotta go there. And I came in and, like I said, sat in the back. And as I'm listening to this, as I stated, I'm listening, I'm hearing some of the things. And, you know, like I said, we can do two things. Either we can be a part of the problem or we could be a part of the solution. Which side of this are you willing to stand on? And I want to be part of the solution. So that's why, like I said, a lot of this came even through my foundation. Like I say, my foundation, because we do a lot. We are doing a lot for our young men and young women. We are also, like I said, we're doing a career braiding event to where we're going to bring out some young ladies and we're going to teach them how to braid hair and give them a certificate in braiding. So that way they're starting out now in the cosmetology world. We're going to give them that certificate. So we're getting involved in that. Our young men, we're getting ready to do some projects with our young men and our community. So we're, like I say, either you're going to be a part of the problem, part of the solution.
Repeat that one more time, Tony. Please repeat that again.
It's either you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution.
And repeat that part about the braiding
yes.
the hair.
We're doing an educational.
People just joining in. I see a lot of people just joining in.
People coming in the room right now.
But for those that are just joining the room, like I say, I have a foundation. It's called Sensational Community Outreach. My foundation is ran a lot. My wife do a lot of the work behind the scenes when it comes to this foundation. So I want to make sure that is known. She do a lot of this work.
Yes, she does. Thank you, Calandra Jones-Sands, for your work too, man.
She do a lot.
Thank you.
We've blessed a young lady with the prom experience of a lifetime through the foundation. We are doing everything for this one young lady. Her mom, she had a situation with, mom passed. She was staying with I think it's an aunt. And you know how that could be for a young lady. Now you're getting ready to go to prom. So we've done the dress, the hair, you name it. She's going to have a prom experience of a lifetime. The day that she got to go get her hair done and get her nails done, there'll be a car that's going to pick her up from her house, take her to the salon. It's going to be the experience of a lifetime for this young lady. This is what we're looking for. This is the way we're moving. Not only that, we're doing the educational component for young ladies. We're going, and you got young men, young ladies and young men, whoever. We're going to invite a certain amount of young ladies or men, young boys, young men, and what we're going to do with them, they're gonna spend a certain amount of hours with us, with our team of cosmetologists, and they're going to get us, when they're finished with us, they're gonna get a certificate in braiding. And that's going to be one of our educational components. Why? Because now that starts you off. That starts you off. If you're in that cosmetology field, that starts you off. Some people wait. Some ladies get this when they're adults. So we're going to get it started now early. So these young women and young men that are possibly thinking about going in this field of cosmetology can come in with us. They're going to be with us for a little bit. They're going to get trained on properly braiding. They're going to have a little kit that they're going to be able to take with them once they leave. So these are some of the things that we're doing with our foundation to help educate, combat, and be a part of the solution.
And I also wanted to touch on too, I believe, Tony, correct me if I'm correct me on this date, on April 24th, any nonprofits, the Sheriff Department Law Enforcement Trust Fund has money,
$1.1 million,
$1.1 million in it, and any nonprofit can you have to come to a training or workshop, correct?
The workshop, yeah, the workshop
On that
is
day,
2
I
p.m.
don't have it right in front of
The
me right
workshop is,
now.
I have it. I'll give
Thank
the
you.
workshop. Yeah, the workshop is going to be at the at the library there of six trunk. Is going to be from 2 to 4. You must RSVP to attend the meeting. In order to, like I said, to be a part of it, you must RSVP for it. I'm trying to think what else is there that they're asking. And then, it's certain criteria.
You have to register.
Yeah, you got to, well, you got to RSVP.
Okay.
You got to RSVP first. It's, like I said, it's the Law Enforcement Trust Fund Workshop.
Right.
The Broward Sheriff's Office, Gregory Tony. And you got to, if you want to RSVP, for those that don't have, if you go to LETF at sheriff.org, you can RSVP that. I'm going to say it again. LETF at sheriff.org. And you must do that by 12 p.m. Monday, April 22nd, to attend this workshop.
And you have to have an active 501c, correct?
Yes, it must be active. Yeah, it must be an active account. There's criteria for it. The sheriff department have that. They got a committee that, and it's points driven. And hey, listen, if you don't apply, you don't get it. If you apply, you got a shot at getting it. And so, they just want to make sure that a lot of this, the funding that a lot of the funding is used like
and
they're supposed to.
That $1.1 million that we're speaking of that they have to give out to these 501cs, that is money that they confiscated from drug dealers throughout Broward County, forfeitures and everything. The money that they took off of the streets, and what the sheriff is doing, he's taking that money. He could do anything with it, but he wants to put it back into programs that's going to help keep our kids safe and keep our kids off the streets, and positive programs that are helping kids, keep them off the streets and teaching them trades and all of this good
Churches
stuff.
apply for that fund.
These churches around here.
Churches apply for that law enforcement trust fund, please.
$1.1 million that the sheriff is saying we want to give it to you. All you got to do is
help
just
fight
come.
gun violence.
If you're teaching, you got something you're teaching at your church, apply. You know what I'm saying? Apply. If you want to call into the show, the number is 954-480-3209. 954-480-3209. It's in the chat. We're talking about gun violence. If you just joined us, say J Bump.
And we're joined by Mr. Tony Get Stational Sands.
Robin J. Lilly, her son was also a victim of gun violence. And
Delray Beach.
Delray Beach. And Irene Blue said, get our leaders in place to help. I agree.
Like I say, and this is what's got to take place. And like I say, the first teacher that a child has is their parents.
Right.
So we got to make sure that and like I said, because I've been in the school system dealing with from all levels of the school system, from the high school to middle school, all the way down to the young school. And I've always worked in the inner city schools.
Right.
The schools I worked at was William Dandy, New River, Dillard High School, and I finished up my career at Charles Drew, the baby Charles Drew, dealing with a lot of the 3 and 4 year old programs for the Broward County school system. So I've been at every level of it, and been on the ground level of seeing it at the inner city schools and understanding what it goes into being at an inner city school. And it's been a blessing for me to be working at inner city schools, because guess what? One thing I've learned with working with children, it keep you updated on how the kids, their lingo, what they say, that's code words, everything, you find it. And I enjoyed, like I said, I spent my life, two of the programs that they used to have in Pompano, two of the juvenile programs that they used to have. One was called ICLA, that was right off Esther Road. Is one of the buildings that's right off Esther Road. I used to work there and be a supervisor there. As a matter of fact, that's where I first met Miss Ernestine Price at. That was
great lady when she was alive.
Enjoyed the knowledge that I got from her when it comes to just a passion for children. I was young in the game, but that was one of my first jobs when I got back to South Florida was just that, dealing with juveniles. And it was, at that time, it was a level 6/8 program. It was where your last step as a juvenile before you went off to prison. If you violated with us and you went back before the judge, they were shipping you off to prison. I got a note that a kid sent me on Facebook, and I had shared it at one time. And it talked about his experience with me. And I see a lot of these young men now that have their own family that was under us. And the one thing that those young men are that said to me every time I see them, it was your love that you gave us. You treated us as if we were your own children. When it come to, you gave us the tough love, you showed us how to be young men. And when I hear it, I was just my wife was at the gas station, a young man came up to Mr. Sand. And I'm looking at him, so I'm trying to focus in on. He said, man, I was with you at ICLA. He said, man, I thank you for everything you did. Is because of what you did and your tough love that you gave us, your love that you gave us. It was because of that helped me now with my family. His family and friends were in the car. And like I say, I see it a lot. And that's from all walks of life, black and white, that were in these programs. I remember my one experience, I was working at Spectrum. There was another program in Pompano on the other side of Atlantic with juveniles. And I was able to sponsor a trip for some young men. Imagine for us going to Busch Gardens, that's nothing. That was normal. But when you're talking about 16 and 17-year-olds that had never been to Busch Gardens, I didn't go on the trip. The staff went. I sponsored the trip. I made sure that these young men were going to have experience of their lifetime. When the bus turned on right there off Second by American Legion, man, the kids' eyes blew up. And when the Spectrum program, their organization, because it was a big organization, they expected that to fail, because you're taking juvenile out of Broward County, which they had to get permission by their juvenile probation officer to be able to take this trip. They went over and I spoke with them. I said, listen, guys, they're expecting this to fail. They're expecting this trip to fail. They want to call back and get a call saying that, but it was those kids that knew what people went into to make this trip possible for them, and they showed them love. Those kids were excellent. And it is because we got to start even down to the love that we give children has got to be there. We got to be able to get down to their level and understand what they're going through, because these kids nowadays are going through a lot. They're dealing with a lot. It's right there at their fingertips, and it makes life a lot tougher. We didn't have phones at our disposal to where we can go on and look up and research things. So these kids are dealing with a lot. We just got to be able to help them and guide them in the right way when they're dealing with these issues.
Right. Yep. You've definitely been putting in the work over the years, man.
Robin Lilly said, we have this Volusia County One Nation One project. And then she also said, and I drove for all those schools in Broward, LOL. Robin Lilly also said, I remember driving the Scared Straight program for the city of Margate Middle School. Yes. And she said she applaud you, Tony, for all your work.
Right.
Tony, thank you. And like I said, I wonder, do they still do, I was a part of that program at William Dandy. We took young men and young ladies to the Broward County Sheriff Jail. And we walked them. They got a literally chance to walk through the jail to see other young inmates like themselves. I had one experience there with a group that I took with a young man that was in a juvenile program with me. I know this man, his name is Cameron Tender. He was a young man that was in the program with us. And I kept telling Cameron, I said, if you don't get it together, I used to always tell the kids, I say, y'all throwing rocks at the prison system. And if you don't wind up, you don't watch out, one of them going to break a window. That means, guess what? You're going to wind up on that side. Cameron, so happened when he got released, got into a situation off Sunrise Boulevard where him and another guy ran down a guy, shot him, killed him, executioner style. Cameron was going for life. They had already sentenced him to life in prison. As I'm taking the young ladies and young men, they give you look straight ahead, don't turn, don't look, just keep walking. So as we're walking through, we heard somebody tapping on the glass. At that time, I don't know what's not now. They were the young juvenile wing. They were behind the glass at the county jailhouse. This ain't the JIP center. This ain't the JIP. This wasn't the juvenile facility of Broward. This was the actual county jail that they sponsored trips. I don't know if they still do it now or not. And as we were passing through, he was tapping on the window. So we was already told, keep straight, don't look right, don't look left, just keep going. So one of the deputies came and said, he said, man, that young man say he knows you. And I said, for real? And I looked back at him. He said, man, this mean Cameron Tyndall. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I stepped back and the guy said, you want me to let him out? I said, yeah, let him out. I like to talk to him. I was talking to Cameron, he said, can I speak with the kids? Can I speak to him? So I said, yeah, go ahead. And like he told him, he said, if you don't do anything, listen to your parents, listen to your teachers. He said, I had that opportunity and I blew. He said, right now, I'm getting ready to go prison for life.
Wow.
I would never see the side of day. He said, man, I would do anything to be in y'all's shoes right now. I would even change my sex if it came down to it, to walk out these doors with you guys. He said, and I've already requested protective custody because I know I won't survive in that system that he knew he was going to. So it opened up some of those young men and young women's eyes. But they talked about it, say, Aaron, coach, you knew that guy, huh? I said, yeah, I know that. I said, this ain't something I'm just taking y'all through. I'm taking you here for a reason. And it would just so happen he was there, somebody that I had been dealing with. And he, like he said, if I would have listened to Mr. Sands, I wouldn't have been. But my parents, I wouldn't have been in these situations. I wouldn't have been here right now getting ready to face life. Cameron was young at that time. Cameron was a young man. Cameron was no more at that time, I think, than 17 years old, 18 years old at the most. And now you're getting ready to face life.
Wow.
And life in Florida means life.
Yes, it does.
Life.
And Jay Bump, our parents' neighbor, Jay Bump said a lot of kids are going through mental health issues, something we as adults really need to address, and that's why so many young kids are falling to the system, and that's right, because at the meeting the other night with the sheriff, a lot of people talked about mental illness, man, and that's a big thing, and putting someone in jail, that's not taking care of the problem. You're just getting them off the streets for a few days, but you need to deal with the real issue of how you're going to treat these people with mental health issues, or they're in a crisis. They need help, man. And that's a good point, Jay Bump, that you're making right now.
And Sheriff Tony did address the mental health aspect. He addressed the overcrowding and letting some of the less violent inmates out. Just now, Florida just passed, and Ron DeSantis just passed a bill allowing cities forcing cities to arrest the homeless. Can you imagine how overcrowded the jails are going to be? And a lot of those people are out there that are struggling with mental health crisis.
Some of them are veterans that was in Vietnam and Iraq, and they're having flashbacks of being in the war. Bombs dropped in front of him, and the governor having him arrested. I mean, he wants them arrested. I mean,
and he put mandated in the executive order, or the legislators put in the order, they can withhold funding from cities who don't throw them up out the park, who don't throw them off the bus benches. This is going to be something like he signed, and I'm a Second Amendment advocate, but this is going to be a disaster, just like he signed with that not the open carry, but the concealed carry. That's another disaster. He's only
putting more guns on the street,
and he's putting more pressure on the local sheriffs and the local officials with the overcrowding of the jails, because now they're going to be so consumed in trying to get the homeless, and running the homeless and running people off of public spots, to where a lot of the gun violence that we're talking about is going to be going on, because they're going to be tied up doing other things. They're going to overwhelm the officers at some point.
Yeah, of course. And as you were saying, we're speaking about these types of crime. Well, guess what? All this is a part of this whole thing. And like when you talk about veterans, is it's always a sad spot to me when we're talking about arresting veterans that, I like I said, because I had my experience of going down to the VA down in Miami. That when my dad was there, and that was the first time I had ever been to the VA hospital, man, and to walk those halls and to say that people that have served, that have been to war for this country, we should never, unless it's necessary, we should never speak on arresting. We should have housing for them. I mean, that's a whole nother show, but it's just amazing to see. But like I said, we gotta be part of this solution. What is going to be part of the solution of the violence that are taking place in our communities is going to be us talking with us. It's going to be us educating us. And as I said, that's why we're going to have some mental health counselors that will be at this event. That's why we're bringing them in. We're bringing the 211s in, the people. So when if I'm dealing with an issue, I can go and reach out and call this place and try to get some assistance and get some help. And so this is why, like I say, why we're doing what we're doing. And like I say, each and every time that you guys bring this topic up, you bring up the knowledge to give to the people. That's what we need, because we don't, like I said, we'll miss it. We'll miss it real quick. But we gotta combat this like we combat the youth league football games on Saturday. The track and field meets on Saturday, to where you can't even find a parking spot. This is how bad this has got to be. We got to look at it like that. See, when you say it like that, we understand. Or we got to look at it as if we're getting ready to go to a place like Jazz in the Garden. We got to look at it in these aspects and say, in order to solve this, so it don't hit your door, because it might not be your door today, but within the next minute, it can be. So in order for that to happen, let's educate each other. Let's get with each other. Let's communicate. Let's talk with each other to get this information that we need to be able to combat this situation.
If you're just joining us now, we're joined by Tony Getsational Sands. He's a personal trainer. He's a motivational speaker, ex-Kansas Jayhawks Ring of Honor, Hall of Famer in the college ranks. Tony is going to be having a Mothers Against Gun Violence, and that's going to be on May 2nd, correct, Tony?
Yes.
At 6:30 p.m., and that's going to be in at the Lauderhill
Performing Arts Center.
Performing Arts Center.
Yes.
And I implore everyone to come out. I mean, we're going to be there. Come out and just support Tony.
Man.
Tony's going to be
bring some ideas. Come with some ideas.
Bring 5 or 6
solutions.
people.
Yes.
Get up and talk about this problem that we're having in our community of gun violence. We're losing too many kids. Just this past weekend, just now, I kept hearing everyone say that we lost a 16-year-old here. And I think he had been injured for the longest, if I'm exact.
Yes.
He had been in the hospital for a while.
Yes.
And I knew his grandfather. His grandfather used to work with me and Daryl.
Yes.
His grandfather's a policeman, right?
Which one?
Ricky Reed.
Oh yeah, Ricky
Reed.
Yeah.
He's a policeman in Sunrise out there. But we knew Rick. We knew Ricky for the longest. Great guy.
He's an active law enforcement officer.
Yes. And please, I implore everyone, please come out to Tony's event on May 2nd. And it's the Mothers Against Gun Violence. And it's going to be at the Lauderhill Performing Arts Center at 6:30 p.m. Don't say, because we're going to keep posting it. Yeah, I'm going to post it on our page, on our Adams Brothers podcast page. And if you want to know what's going on, if you think that you're missing something or need to know something, always go to the Adams Brothers podcast page. Yes. We try to put everything up current, as whoever give us something. If you got an announcement, please give it to us, and we will put it up. Also, don't forget about if you want to donate to our Black Media podcast, you can do it through Zelle and Cashapp. Our Zelle is Wadamsbrotherspodcast@gmail.com. That's Wadamsbrotherspodcast adamsbrotherspodcast@gmail.com. Our Cash App is $Adamsbrotherspodcast. You can also donate through us and just help us out. Like I say, if anyone want to advertise anything as far as just advertise, hit us up. Just hit our inbox up and just let us know what you want to do. We're here for the community. We're here to
as well as
the
Tony,
fight.
man.
Tony
we all
is
in
here.
this together, man. And,
yeah, man, we're in this fight together, and that's why, like I say, this getting it out to the people, us banning to let people know that, like you said, there are young black men that are, and I'm gonna always call myself young. We are young men that are doing the right things in our community and for our community. So, and I was reading one of the comments, and I think Ms. Lily, she was saying, tell her, yeah, she can send me every ounce of information that she has. So yes, you can.
Robin, you can contact Tony.
Yeah.
He just said it just now. As a matter of fact, she said she's on the board in Gainesville, where she lives at the Black Mothers and Grandmothers Against Gun Violence. She said I can send him all the info. So yes, Robin,
yes, you can.
I can get Tony's contact information for you, and y'all definitely coordinate those. Robin has been so good to us. I say that I just told Tony about you this morning, and how supportive you have been with our podcast.
And because we're taking, you got to figure, we're moving not only here, but like I said, that's why I look at it as a community effort. We're looking to take this to Dallas, Kansas City, and LA. I got a group out in LA that I met with during the Super Bowl when we were talking about it, that are looking to do a lot of it. So yeah, we're looking to take it, but I always wanted to bring it home because it touches home to me, because these are the young men that I see. Like I said, I spoke at, went to Too Many Bloom releases, going to kids' school, speaking, and within another 2 days, you're seeing the same thing happen. We're revisiting this. As I state, we're revisiting this too many times.
over and over again.
We're revisiting it too many times. And if we let it become the norm, it will be the norm.
And we can't give up. We know it might seem impossible, but it's doable if we all, put our heads together and do this collectively as a community, a city. As a race of people,
it's not just a black thing. Y'all understand that we need our white brothers and sisters in this just as well. Just as the sheriff said the other night. I mean, I know a lot of us. Myself said the place should have been full, but Sheriff Greg Tony made it very clear. He said this place should not only be full with black people, it should be filled with our white brothers and sisters too, because it's not just the black folks over there problems, because that's what I think everyone looks at it as, and it's not just a black problem.
And that's why we're gonna try our best, man, to have your event down there. You having that in the city of Lauderhill, packed to capacity. If they got 350 chairs there, we want to have 350 people there. We want to have people standing up around the walls and outside and everything. So
yes, let's like I said, let's make sure this is our problem. This is everybody in Broward County's problem. Not only in Broward, in Dade, Palm Beach, in every city in the U.S., because like I say, this is not the norm everywhere else. Looking at the statistics, it's not the norm in other countries. We almost triple other countries that are like us. So it's not the norm in theirs. Let's not let it become the norm in ours.
Absolutely.
Let's not lose what we have.
Absolutely.
And if y'all get a chance, go back on our Adams Brothers podcast page and look at some of the videos that we posted of some of the residents. Some was residents, some was Pompano residents. Of course, Daryl got up and spoke on behalf of as the media. Tony got up and spoke, but go back and look at on our Adams Brothers podcast at some of the videos that were posted of some of the people that was there speaking up against gun
We're gonna
violence.
get the video of Tony on there too as well.
Well, I put the one with Tony up speaking.
Oh, you did? Okay, I didn't see it. I didn't get a chance to go on.
That's why I'm telling our viewers now, go back on there and watch the videos of all the residents that were speaking, because a lot of times we get amongst ourselves and we'll say, oh, black people, they don't care about crime because we killing other people. Well, go back and look. It was a lot of black people there that wasn't afraid to get up and speak, and the cameras was everywhere, because everyone, the media was there filming. Some people were residents who were filming. So it's not like people are afraid to get up and speak, because you had people there getting up speaking the other night, and they were not afraid. You had former Commissioner Ed Phillips and his wife got up and spoke, and they talked all about actually Nakenya Robinson's program that she used to have in Pompano, where she was and still does, where Nakenya Robinson is helping the homeless people. She's helping the homeless. She helping giving people clothes to come to church in. Through
the city church.
Nakenya Robinson is another person in Pompano that's doing good work. So, and I definitely don't want to lose her out, leave Nakenya out.
Right. So there's so much to be done, man, and we're gonna keep up the fight, man. We want to thank Mr. Tony Sands for coming on here, our good friend, man, for coming on here and trying to address some of these issues, man. It's always a pleasure to have you on here, man. And again, the work that you do in this community around here, man, is unmatched, man. I don't think nobody can even live up to what you do, and your wife as well. What you all do in this community, man.
And you're always speaking up against every town hall I saw you at. You were there speaking up. You really care about the kids in all the communities, not just here. You care about them in Fort Lauderdale, Pompano, Deerfield, wherever. You care about the kids, and that's good. We need more people on the ground. We need more black people. We need more black pastors. We just don't need y'all talking about praying all this away. We need y'all with boots on the ground. And if you say you don't have the money, again, the sheriff department will be doing a workshop, law enforcement trust fund on April 24th.
22nd.
22nd? Oh, 24th. You got
24th.
RSVP by the 22nd.
April 24th, the sheriff department will be doing a law enforcement trust fund. All the local, if you got a 401c3, and you need money, a nonprofit, and you need money, the sheriff department has $1.1 or $1.2 million. You go there, you sign up, they're gonna tell you what's included in that program, and you can get the money, and you can start something at your church or at your religious institute to help combat this problem in our community.
And there you have it. The information is there.
Yeah.
It's up to you to go and follow up on the information at LETF at sheriff.org. Did I get that right, Tony?
Yep, you got that right. Yep, you got it right.
F at sheriff.org. Go on that website, man, and register and attend the class. There's $1.1 million for active 501c that are doing something positive in our community. Let's stop this gun violence. Thank you, Tony Sands, for joining the Adams Brothers podcast, man. It's always a pleasure to have you on our podcast, man.
Guys, thank you. My pleasure.
You're welcome, man. Good to see you, man, and we'll be talking, man. Have a wonderful evening.
All righty.